Well, okay, we are now ending this long day that began even yesterday and also this morning. I would like to begin by thanking all our guests who have come from outside the country and have put in the effort to travel all these miles to give us within 15 minutes such interesting insights, such innovations, such relevant insights. So thank you very much. Thank you also to the team, the administrative team that has done the wonderful work that we see everything as obvious, but this tent was not here 3 days ago. It's not a given. So much preparation has gone into, so much connection, so many tickets and flights and wonderful food. There is a wonderful group here headed by Kobi and Deborah, who is head of the foreign relations, and Orly, who is the deputy for administration and finance, and the Faza company, Michal and Liat, the Gitam company, Orna and Yonatan. Thank you, all of you. I would like to also thank the researchers from INSS, because this conference is not just to have a conference once a year. It's a conference that is based on research that is very deep and very thorough and has been led by the INSS team, but is not just their work. Others outside the INSS have also joined them, and I think that the papers that we have presented to you are very good papers, and they have created a very interesting conference. And the good news is that it doesn't stop here. We have been receiving many remarks and comments on our papers. We are taking them very seriously. We have recorded them, we have written them down, and we will take these papers and we will bring them forward to the next level, so that the public discourse and the decision makers are given the right angle, the right viewpoint. Like I said in the opening night, that is not just immediate and flat like the media has to provide until 8 o'clock in the evening, and is not affected by the diligent work that is carried out by the clerks who have to deal with the crises every day, and has a lot of in the academia, but the more implemented academia. We have spoken about 5 issues, but I was going to talk about them, but our time is up. So I think that what is clear to all of us is that we have chosen the right issues. And how did we see that? We saw the connection between them. We couldn't talk about the security budget and bring this significant insight that the window of opportunities is closing, and that we now have a different Middle East. And the Deputy Prime Minister showed this very well. We have an Iranian threat, we have an Arab world that was with us pretty much strong in peace accords and deterrence, and now the case is not the same. So we're talking about Iran, we're talking about the Arab world, and I think that one of our guests, I believe it was the Ambassador Negroponte, who said that we should have strategic patience, and this patience is very important when it comes to the Arab world. I am one of those who sees the changes in the Arab world as a process that is positive ultimately. But in the medium range, maybe we'll hear some things that we don't want to hear. That Arab street, so to speak, that we're being threatened with, will ultimately be, if it's people that were in Tahrir, in the Tahrir Square, the values that they have spoken of are our values: freedom, democracy, human rights, rights for women. And I think that in the longer range, perhaps it will not be against us. On the other hand, in terms of the Iranians, we're not sure that strategic tolerance will be good for them, because there are processes here that not only Israel but also the United States will be powerless in. And I'm talking about not being able to contain a nuclear Iran and the impact it will have on everything that happens in the Middle East, including the price of oil. Because if we have a nuclear Iran, this will happen if we don't do the right thing at the right time. And of course this also has an impact on Israel's and United States relationships, because we have a difference of opinion as to what the triggers are, what the red lines are, and what the right timing is. And I think that we should, and I want to say that we did bring something new to the public discourse. The Deputy Prime Minister and my former commander said that we do not speak because there's some sort of a paradox that when we are faced with terrorism, I, like you, think that we should not make unilateral moves as a response. And that's Lebanon and that's Gaza. You are giving the terrorists a prize. But when there is no terrorism, there's also no reason to move. And therefore we never move. There's always a reason, there's always a way of filing or tagging each viewpoint as a right wing or left wing, and I don't think that's the right way to go. I think that in one sense the right wing perception is that there's a problem with a partner because of the education, because of the refugees, because the occupation begins in 1948. That has somewhat of a right-wing scent to it. But on the other hand, what we're trying to do is not because of the Palestinians. We don't want to give them gifts. We want to give gifts to our children, to our grandchildren, and we want to create the State of Israel, some sort of border that it can determine, regardless of any dependence on outside factors. And we want to rectify the error that you pointed out as the Chief of General Staff when we left Philadelphia route open. And in this unilateral, coordinated process that takes into consideration all of these erroneous things, we're taking the Jordan Valley, and it will stop the missiles from being shot. And all of this is coming out of a Zionistic approach that looks at what is good for the State of Israel and the Jewish people. Thank you very much. Good night to you all.